Welcome to my nightmare.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Trigger Troy, and welcome back to Man of Horror, my horror podcast where I talk all things scary. Now, if you've been following along, you know I like to do a top 5 list that I've personally compiled of my own favorites, and then I do a review and a rating for a recent horror movie. Now, last week was a little short due to the holiday, but today is special because I have a guest along for the ride, or at least half of it. So I'm going to do the list alone, but the review and rating will have Man of Horror's first official guest, a friend of mine, Aaron Brantley, a.k.a. Wildheart. So I'm excited about that. You should be excited about that. And let's dive in.
No, please don't kill me, Mr. Ghostface. I want to be in the sequel.
Now, today's top 5 in honor of the holiday season will be my top 5 holiday horror films. Now, not to be confused with like a Christmas horror list. This is just like holidays across the board. Christmas, Valentine's Day, 4th of July, Halloween, like all of it. A mixture. I think after this, I'll do an isolated list at some point, starting with Christmas, but this is where we are today. So afterwards, again, me and Aaron are going to go over Black Friday, so stick around. Let's get started. Now, in 5th place, I have an 80s cult classic, Silent Night, Deadly Night. This one is pure B-movie fun. Quick story goes, a man, dressed as Santa kills a boy's parents in front of him. He's traumatized, understandably, and then basically grows up, snaps, and dresses like Santa, killing people. Very simple, but super fucking effective. I mean, it's a pretty wild movie. It's funny because you don't think about it, but there's so many scenes with a Santa Claus just killing the shit out of people. The movie was actually protested when it came out because people were angry at the depiction, and personally, I don't care, but I guess I can imagine, some kids probably like crying or some shit. But also, why is your child watching this movie? So there's that. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure it's the first of that trope, the, psycho in a Santa suit thing. There's this scene where a kid is like sledding and the Santa Claus killer chops off his head before he gets to the top of the hill where his friend is like waiting for him. It's wild, man. It's like definitely one of my favorite kills in the movie. Overall, though, there's like 4 films in this franchise, and like I said, it's B-movie fun, so it's not something you would watch if you're like, oh, I need serious horror. No, this shit is just pure fun and insanity. So check it out. I won't shame bail you if you're like a medium horror fan and you haven't seen it, but if you consider yourself a man or a woman of horror and you haven't,
shame.
Yeah. All right, so next up in 4th place, we have a Valentine's Day cult classic, My Bloody Valentine. For me personally, both the original and the remake work in this case. Both, again, fun B-movie goodness. Side note, as I'm saying this, realizing that holiday horrors tend to be B-movie cult classics. I never noticed that. Huh. At any rate, My Bloody Valentine is like I said, fun B-movie goodness. The remake is my personal favorite for the cast and some of the kills that they added. One thing I didn't care for with the remake was the 3D. The remake came out around the time Hollywood was having one of its 3D booms, and it created some cool scenes, but like a lot of movies in those 3D booms, it's not needed. It's kind of like pointless. So one thing I like in horror films, though, that I will say is how they can cause mass hysteria. And I think the killer in both original and the remake had the town just like fucking shook, yo. Like it's different when a killer is contained to a smaller playing field, like a house, a campground, whatever. But to have the whole town locking up early, that's when you know shit is scary, like shit's hitting the fan. And I think they both achieved that in different but creative ways. So give it a watch. In third place, I bring you another Valentine's Day horror, Valentine. This one is another cast filled with some favorites, man. Like, I'm noticing another trend with holiday horrors, or at least some cult classics. Their cast are stacked, yo. But this one has a few horror traits that I like. You know, it's a slasher, it's a whodunit, and it includes bullied kids, a school dance, a killer mask, and a third act party scene with the red herring that I'm pretty sure you can tell is such. But yeah, it's a classic, you know. It's not that big of a mystery. When I was younger, I didn't figure out the killer, but like when I rewatched older, I just paid attention to the clues and I refigured it out. Nevertheless, totally enjoyable watch. One of my favorite things about the movie is the killer. Like, he sends Valentine's cards with fucked up killer messages in them, and he like sends them to the victims before he kills them. And I like the creativity in them. One of them, I remember it said, "The journey of love is an arduous trek. My love grows for you as you bleed from your neck." And then there was like this pull down that showed like a cut bloody neck. It was wild. It was wild. Hallmark probably won't be buying those or using those, but I wish I could find one. Definitely get that one to watch. And that one deserves a shame bell if you are a horror fan and you haven't seen it. So
shame.
Next, in a second place, I'll bring you back to Christmas with another cult classic out here, Black Christmas. Now, this is another one where I think the remake and the original both work. This is what you call, again, B-movie cult classic. And then again, like I just said, the remake had a cast that was full of favorites. It was stacked. And the original is just purely classic. Like, the call is coming from inside the house trope is in this movie. And I can never really remember if it came from this or When a Stranger Calls first, but either way, it's so fucking effective here. Like, imagine, you know, it's Christmas, everyone's leaving for the holidays one by one, dying, but, you know, to you leaving, and you're almost alone in this big ass house and you've been getting crazy calls all night. You get police to trace it, and moments after taking a really crazy one, they call you to let you know it's coming from inside the fucking house. Like, I can imagine seeing this back then and being shook. Like, just completely, like, out of my fucking head. And then it's like the wintertime setting just makes it all the more eerie. You know, if you haven't seen the original, you know, no shame bell. But if you haven't seen the remake, I'm pretty sure you deserve a shame bell.
Shame.
Last, in first place, and of course it would be because I'm a goddamn man of horror, is inspired by my favorite holiday, Halloween. You should have kind of already known this was coming when I mentioned that this would be overall holidays, or at least had an idea, but if not, that's fine. But holiday horror and Halloween belong to Michael Myers and Laurie fucking Strode. Like, I think horror fans can agree, right? Like, they own Halloween. If you don't watch at least one of the several Halloween movies every Halloween season, then you're not a true horror fan. Like, that's really it, and you should get the hell out of here. But no, seriously, like, it just has the best everything. I mean, you know, when you think of like the film, you know, you think of one of the best horror scores, one of the best horror killers, the best final girl. It's kind of a no-brainer in relation to a quote-unquote holiday film. But with that, I know for sure now that I need to do a more broken down list for each holiday separately, because there's like so many more options that need to be here for multiple holidays. So I definitely need to do a part 2, or I can do no, not part 2, I guess. Part 1, but multiple part, whatever. Point is, I'm going to do another list. But that was my top 5 overall horror films. Stick around. Me and my good friend Aaron, a.k.a. WLDHRT, are going to review Black Friday. Give it a rating. Check it out. I can't fucking stand you. Okay, y'all. So, yeah, we watched the movie Black Friday. It came out last November, and obviously, like, it's a play on fucking the holiday Black Friday. And first off, Aaron fucking hated it.
I wouldn't say hate it.
No, you hated it. It's fine.
I don't hate anything. Did I like it? No.
He talked shit through the whole movie. I found some things
No.
to enjoy.
It was amazing.
Okay.
Ebert and Roper gave it a 10 out of 10. It's a 97 on Rotten Tomatoes. And
sure, Dick. So all right. So seriously, all right. The first thing that I did actually like about it though, it was like the cast was fire. Like it did have some really good people in there.
yeah, what's his name? Michael J. White.
Yeah.
He's cool.
But okay, so you remember Final Destination though, right? The very first Final Destination.
Yeah, of course I remember.
So the main guy, that was who that was. The cool guy in the store or whatever, quote unquote, who was like skateboarding around, like who was dating a young bitch or whatever, like all that shit. That's him.
Why can't I remember his face in Final Destination? I can't remember his face in Black Friday either because it's not really that memorable. But I really can't remember Final Destination.
Well, either way, that's him. And then I don't know if you've seen Pan's Labyrinth, but the one girl who he was dating, the young cashier chick, I was watching the whole time like, dog, I've seen this bitch before, and she was the little girl from Pan's Labyrinth. So, and then Bruce fucking
Gohan's
Campbell.
daughter, Pan.
Wait, what? Okay, real quick. We may or may not have had some shots before this review, so yeah. But no, Bruce Campbell too, homeboy from I'm not sure if you know who that is, but you know Evil Dead at least.
A little bit.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, so the original one, that's where Bruce Campbell came from, and that was the manager guy who was like a dark Glenn from Superstore. Mm-hmm. Like, and that's what the whole fucking movie felt like, real quick too. Like, if Superstore and Walking Dead had a baby, and then that baby had a baby with like an alien movie.
Yeah, but Superstore is funnier, and Walking Dead is definitely scarier.
There's that. The other part, what I wrote down in my notes too, is like, what was funny was like, the homeboy, like in the beginning, the young guy Chris, when he was getting picked up, and it was like showing like his interaction with his family, and like his family was just kind of like saying fuck him.
We're trying to enjoy Thanksgiving dinner.
His daddy was like, all right, bro, go to work. We don't give a fuck what you gotta do.
Well, no, the mom was a little bit. She was like, oh, what are you doing? Like, where are you going? And he was like, get the fuck out. I'm trying to enjoy dinner.
All right, that's enough. It was fun.
Like, you keep asking all these questions. But I'm trying to enjoy my
I did like the opening scene too. I don't know if you recall that, but it was like they were opening up the store, and then like it was like this like thing that crashed down into the store, and like a little mini asteroid, quote unquote, and then it was like the little pulsing juicy alien thing. I don't even have a better way to describe it.
I remember it primarily because it was not visually appealing.
Yeah.
When I say visually appealing, I mean like effects wise. It just was not.
We'll get to that because that's definitely a point that I want to bring up. But I'm pretty sure the budget for this shit wasn't big. It could have been like, it's weird because the graphics were fucking ass, but like they had bigger people, bigger names, I guess. I don't know. But another thing I did like too.
The only one I knew was Marcus. That's the only one I knew.
Fucking damn, I forgot all about that shit. He was Marcus.
He sure was.
Marcus was a hoe. He was a hoe in another movie too. Menage a Trois. I don't know if you ever saw that. It's called Trois.
It's like a BT straight to
yeah, one of the black movies. I ain't gonna lie. I fucked with that.
Of course you do.
Chill out.
You subscribe to BT Plus, so you.
Not no more.
Somebody was telling me about whatever. We'll talk about that later. Somebody was telling me about a movie I need to watch on BT Plus, but I'm gonna sign up for the free trial and see what that's about.
So all right. Anyway, but yeah, like one of the things I did like about it though was like it was like a slow build to what was going on. Like if you remember, it was like the part where like when they first like pulled up to the parking lot, like a car, like our ambulance went past real fast.
Did you say ambulance?
Okay, well yeah, I might suck at saying a word. I also had shots, whatever. But it was an ambulance. Ambulance. Okay, fuck you. Okay. You know what the fuck I mean. Either way, when it drove past real quick, it was like a quick, a close call. If y'all can see his face right now, he's been a dick.
No.
Like, you know what I mean.
No.
Anyway. But yeah, and then it was like the, dick. There was like the guy in the break room who was like watching the news report. And, like, it was, like, a report about people eating people. It was, like, real quick. And he turned it off. Like, oh, I don't care about that. It was, like, just, like, slow. That was a horror formula, quote, unquote, that they had right. Like, they had a lot of good elements. I just feel like they didn't come together well.
I'll talk about the two things that I like because it's not going to take very long for me to talk about.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. Go right ahead.
The first one was the metaphor, because it really was. I feel like the movie was really just a metaphor about how people really just get crazy on Black Friday in general. And so when people are like turning into zombies and they just kept calling them shoppers, I thought that was funny. It was just like, oh, the shoppers are doing this, the shoppers are doing that.
It was
just
a real good play on consumerism.
Yeah, just like a whole metaphor for how people truly are people turn into fucking monsters on Black Friday. And I've seen it. I've been a part of it. I went Black Friday shopping when I was in high school, sat outside of Best Buy
I'm sure, because you should shop at like...
Well, no, it was... So listen. So my dad and my stepmom, they wanted to buy us all TVs, me and my step siblings, and so we sat.
Of course.
This was in Michigan too. We was outside in the cold in Best Buy. I had an owl. I was crunched up in my owl for 6 hours, sitting in a lawn chair, waiting to go inside of Best Buy to get some cheap TVs, and I'll never forget that. That's why I don't go Black Friday shopping now, but people legitimately get crazy in these scenarios. But I can see why. It's like the worst circumstance, limited everything, like people fighting over stuff. Then I did go Black Friday shopping one time when I lived out here, maybe twice, but we were at a Best Buy again. I don't know how I always end up at Best Buy, but I did get some good stuff that year.
I mean, Best Buy is fire.
At Best Buy, but it was just people just like grabbing TVs, just left, like, I don't know, it was just...
It was going crazy.
It was like stuff in cages and people was just like gnawing at the cages. It was intense.
I feel that. Like, I don't know. I think it's wild to me. I don't remember what year it was or who told me that shit or who brought it to my attention, whatever the case is. But I remember finding out or realizing that the sales and shit on Black Friday aren't even that, like, different from, like, Christmas sales and, like, shit like that. Like, it's almost advertised or pushed as, like, crazy ass sales or once in a lifetime kind of thing or shit like that, but it really ain't nothing different than what they gonna have in like 2 weeks after.
It
Christmas
definitely
sales.
depends. I have seen
that's true too. Not everybody swindle your ass.
Yeah, I've seen some real like this should not be this cheap.
Yeah.
But I've gotten to a point in my life where I would rather just wait and pay a little bit more than to not have to deal with it.
Yeah. But either way, to hop back into the movie, though, that it definitely did play that really good. Another thing it did, too, on the opposite side, was show how some motherfuckers take their job too fucking seriously. Like, it's fucking Walmart. Like, I mean, you know, it's not actually Walmart, but like...
That's where I thought it was funny. I like the...
Conversation
that reminded me of Superstore. But I mean, it's that's how it is in real life. You're gonna have somebody that's gonna take.
That's like, oh, this is like their life. And
it's like Dina in Superstore.
Dina was the bitch Anita that I was saying in this movie. I fucking hated her. Like, I couldn't wait. Okay, so I'll finish this thought first. I couldn't wait to see her fucking die. Her and then the fat guy. Oh my god, not to talk shit, but that fat fucker. I can't.
I didn't
think
want
of
him to
his
die
name.
because he was funny.
He was funny, but he was
one
a
of those
dick.
hateable people, and I like every movie, especially a comedy, they need somebody that you hate. But I like when you hate somebody that much because that means that they are doing a really good job at being hateable. And he did such a good job, and it was funny hateable. Because he was such a dick, and like even when he had that one moment where you think he's going to redeem himself,
he doesn't. He fucking doesn't.
And I was like,
him.
yes.
I hate him.
I was like, you know who you are.
I was so happy when he died.
You
Oh
know
my
who
God.
you are.
Well, oh sure.
Yeah. You know who you are.
You know what?
And you
But,
are
like,
unwavering in who you are, and I respect that.
I'll say I did hate the bitch Anita more. So I guess that is probably why
Because
they
she
kept
was
her around.
irritating and not funny.
Yeah, like her first scene in the fucking movie, she's like, "Oh, your shirt's untucked. You can get written up for that." Bitch, if you don't get out of my face, this is fucking.
So write me up.
For conversation's sake,
Ice me
Walmart.
out.
Right, like, all right, bitch, and then, but like,
So write it.
okay. Patty. But so that's another thought that I just had, like what we were saying. I thought like this movie did do good at writing or projecting hateable characters.
Yeah.
They definitely had a couple motherfuckers that we were supposed to hate that they definitely made us fucking hate. Like,
So that's why I'll lead into the only other thing that I did like, which was the acting. I did not like the script. I think it was a bad script. I think it was not really a good plot. But the actors that they did have, I know you mentioned earlier, like, they had some people, some notable people, they had Marcus. But I did appreciate, like the big dude. That was, like I said, I think he was funny. Like, that was the comedy that I needed. But I think the actors did well with what they had. I did enjoy that.
yeah. Yeah, I feel like it was very B movie in the sense that like at some point they had to know.
B movie is a great movie. You mean like B-list movie?
No, B movie is fucking like horror movies, old horror movies that are
I'm
like.
talking about B movie with Homeboy.
You petty motherfucker.
I love that movie. B movie is such a good movie. If you ain't seen B movie, we should review that next.
That shit is not scary. It's not horror. Okay, anyway.
You should change it from Man of Horror to Man of Honey because.
But then I'm
That
only
movie-
talking about one fucking movie, Aaron. Like,
That's all you need to talk about.
okay, anyway. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, they did. I don't know. Like, I feel like it was, the idea was creative. It was just the execution. And that just, like, brings me to, like, the last point of which we kind of already mentioned. But, like, the ending graphics were so fucking bad. I had, like, high hopes to see what, like, this glowing monster thing was gonna become, and then they called it like Mama Kong or like Queen Kong, some ugly shit like that, and it was just like, where did this even come from? Like, I don't know. It was wild. The good part that came out of it again was Homeboy got his ass smacked a fucking way. The fat black guy manager that I was talking about, he dies in that scene. Love it. But the graphics for that shit was bad, so yeah.
I also really don't like when movies do not have a resolution. So I like the metaphor and how they call them shoppers and how the whole thing was just a metaphor on Black Friday and how people act. But so I feel like it was a missed opportunity at the end because at the end everybody's leaving, they're getting off, and they are going home, and then this monster is still just there destroying the store, and then that was just it. The movie, that's it.
Yeah.
Movie's done.
It was like I think the idea
All right,
was
it's
like
over.
it was.
And so, okay, cool. If it is a metaphor, then let it be some type of ending to this monster.
Yeah.
Once the store closes, once the sun comes up, because that was the first time you started seeing it getting light outside. Let it be. Let the sun kill it. Like, right, it comes out of the roof of the building and then gets burned by the fucking light of the sun. But I don't know. It was just there. and everybody went home. Ain't nobody think about, and they was talking about, oh yeah, let's just go to such and such when they knew it was happening at like other stores.
Oh, it was like pancakes.
They just
it was
ignored
like this,
that everything that
joke
just
or something.
everything just happened. The world basically ended, but now it's over. Let's just go. Like we found a car, so it's over now.
Let's go get pancakes. Sure. And I think it was just like a play on like not again being able to escape consumerism, because like the idea when it was driving away was like it was like a big ass monster like in the distance somewhere else. So like everything that they had just went through happened somewhere else. But again, the graphics
wasn't that
took away
their
from
store
it.
though when it was driving away the monster?
It was somewhere else. Like it was like in the distance. Like they were like driving off and they had been away from their store for a second. That was like
I would
else.
say I need to see it again, but I really don't.
But you. So okay, so as a horror fan, like watch it because again, cast.
I mean, it's not really a horror movie. I would say not.
No, I mean, because again, like it has the cast, it has the ideas. It's just something to add to. So again, so that's another thing about being a horror fan. You fuck with the B movies,
It's
like
some
the
movies. No, I know, and it's some B movies or bad movies.
B movie, motherfucker.
It's some B movies that are not B movie with Barry Benson that I do like, but that was just not one of them. And
yeah. Okay, so then, all right, so, and I feel like you probably would just give it no fucking stars, but I gave it 1 for, again, out of 5, 1 star for creative story. Like, it didn't land. I feel like they had a lot of ideas. It just didn't stick the way they might have panned it out.
if we could do half, I'll do 1.5. Because the 2 things that I said I didn't like. But I didn't like the visuals. I didn't really like the story. I didn't like the ending. I didn't like that it didn't have a resolution. But I did like Michael J. White. I think he was cool.
I think you gave him more than I thought you would.
Huh?
You gave him more than I thought. But go ahead.
Yeah, no. I built, well, for me, when I came into it, I thought 1 was the lowest. So that's where it was just like, there was some moments where I chuckled. And that's where that 0.5 came from.
So, like, the half comes from, like, comedy. I don't even think I'm like,
and
rating
not
based
from
on
horror.
comedy.
Like, not from... And this is the wrong podcast for this because it was not a horror movie.
Well, I didn't know that. Like,
well,
I mean, well, no, but, like, again, that's the point, though. That's what B movies are. It's like...
I love B movies. So
horror
good.
comedy. It's stuff. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, so we gave it 1 out of 5. Again, like I said, if you're like an actual horror
even
fan,
Roper gave it what did they say? A 9 out of 10 or something.
don't fucking listen to him. So again, like,
I mean, if this movie doesn't win all of the Oscars, they're getting snubbed.
such a fucking Oscar snub right now. Like,
I mean,
it deserves every Oscar, like every Tony, every fucking like Emmy, even fucking Grammys, like
they should just named the movie EGOT.
any fucking way. No, but like if you're like an actual horror fan, like add it to your list. Yes, because again, you know what a B movie is, and you
It's
know
not good.
those aren't always good.
Everything
yes.
is not worth it, Brandon.
Oh my god. But if you're not a horror
You are
fan,
grasping.
don't.
Everything is not worth it, and that's just. We did it so you didn't have to, right? Ain't that the point of this stuff?
I guess. But like also I like to suggest good movies for people to watch.
Right, good movies, keyword.
Okay, anyway. Yeah, thanks for fucking listening. I can't stand this guy. Follow.
So are you going to suggest a good movie before this is done, or
Mr. Wildheart over here, would you like to share any social media plugs, anything like that?
Yeah, really just Instagram. Follow me on Instagram, Aoshan, AYOSHAAN _. I'm trying to get back into it and post a little bit more. So, it's been a little quiet, but join me.
All right, y'all. Look, follow the Instagram page for Man of Horror, which is Man of Horror _podcast. And yeah. Thanks for listening, like I said. And join
Please
us
don't watch the
next
movie.
fucking chill out. Join me next week. When I talk about like my top 5 found footage movies and some other stuff. Peace out, y'all.
But don't watch that. Don't watch Quarantine instead. That's a fun movie.